All right, let's dive into something super relevant today, leadership. Specifically, Simon Sinek's Leaders Eat Last. We got this really insightful article breaking down all the key ideas.
Awesome. Always up for some Sinek.
So I think the mission here is to, give everyone some solid takeaways on how to build those kick-ass, resilient teams, right?
Sure. Whether you're leading one, part of one, or just curious about the dynamics, it's gold.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to be tackling things like the circle of safety, that whole trust factor, and why that laser focus on short-term wins can actually backfire.
Yeah, Sinek's right on the money when he links leadership to, like, actual biology. This is not just theory, it's how we react at work, even on a hormonal level,
Yeah.
like oxytocin and cortisol.
Hold on. Let's break that down, that circle of safety thing.
Right.
It really hooked me. The article says it's like the foundation of any high-performing team, but what's that look like in real life?
Imagine a workplace where you're totally comfortable speaking your mind, taking risks, without the fear of getting slammed, knowing your team's got your back.
So it's psychological safety, basically.
Exactly. In that environment, people feel valued, supported, they can truly shine.
This isn't just like some feel-good concept, though, right?
Right.
There are companies seeing real results, especially in, say, procurement and supply chain.
Oh, absolutely. When you feel safe, you share information more openly, collaboration flows. Crucial in those fields.
I can see that.
Sinek, in his book, brings up this manufacturing company that, after they focused on building a circle of safety, they saw way fewer accidents at work and their productivity shot up.
Wow.
It's about creating an environment where anyone can point out potential problems, inefficiencies, without being afraid. Leads to smoother workflow and boom, better results.
Wild how something as simple as feeling safe can impact an entire company.
Mm.
And then there's that powerful analogy Sinek uses about leaders literally eating last.
Right, exactly. It's about putting your team's well-being above your own.
Selflessness.
Yeah, it challenges that whole traditional command and control style.
Right. It's not about wielding power over people.
Nope, it's about responsibility, about serving your team, creating the conditions for everyone to succeed.
So less being the boss, more like a guide, a protector even.
Yeah, I like that.
I bet this redefinition of leadership has huge EE implications, especially in fields like marketing that thrive on creativity and innovation.
Big time. When a marketing team has that circle of safety, they're way more likely to take risks, experiment, come up with those killer campaigns, leaders acting as shields, against unnecessary pressure or criticism.
Mm.
It frees up the team to think outside the box.
Makes total sense. So if you're seeing this type of leadership or even practicing it, pay attention. It can be a game changer, not just for team success, but for you as well. And it all ties back to, like we said earlier, that biology of trust. Let's get into that science. I'm really curious how Sinek connects it all.
It gets super fascinating. When we have those positive social interactions, the kind you get in supportive environments, our brains release oxytocin.
Ah, the love hormone.
Exactly. It promotes trust, connection, literally changes our brain chemistry, makes us want to cooperate and support each other.
So not just a warm, fuzzy feeling. There's a biological reason why trust is so important. But what happens when we're in environments that don't foster that safety?
That's where cortisol comes in. The stress hormone gets released when we feel threatened. So a workplace where people are constantly worried about screwing up, where blame and negativity rule, that's a high cortisol environment.
And we all know how stress can be crippling.
Yeah.
Impacts focus, creativity, decision-making, everything.
For sure. So when a leader makes that circle of safety a priority, they're not just making a nice workplace, they're actually setting their team up for success, right down to their brain chemistry.
Powerful way to put it.
Well,
So if someone listening is thinking, okay, I get this circle of safety, but how's it connected to that short-termism trap that Sinek talks about?
great question.
How would you explain that link?
Well, short-termism, it's about prioritizing immediate gains over long-term value. And it can totally sabotage the circle of safety. Picture a company fixated on hitting those quarterly targets, so much so that they push employees to cut corners, work crazy hours, sacrifice quality just for speed.
Sounds like a recipe for burnout.
And resentment. And it creates that culture of fear, anxiety, the opposite of safety. In the long run, that approach actually backfires. You get lower morale, shoddier work, ultimately a less sustainable business.
So it's a vicious cycle. You chase short-term gains, trust and motivation erode, and it ends up hurting you long-term. How do you break free? What can people do, even if they're not the boss, to start shifting focus to the long game?
You got to start by recognizing the problem, advocating for a more sustainable approach. Maybe speaking up in meetings when decisions seem short-sighted, suggesting a more collaborative approach to a project, or even just taking the time to build strong relationships with colleagues and clients, not just focusing on transactions.
So even small actions can help build a more sustainable, fulfilling work environment. It's about recognizing we're all in this together, that long-term success needs a different mindset, a different way of leading.
Exactly. It's a shift in thinking. Yeah, it's like, realizing that sustainable success, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
I like that.
Building that foundation of trust, nurturing those relationships, making those choices that'll benefit everyone in the long run.
Okay, so we've got that circle of safety, the long-term vision,
Hmm.
but how does all this like touchy-feely stuff translate to actual results?
Hmm.
What's in it for companies that embrace these ideas? Any examples?
Oh, tons. There's this case study in the article about a software company. They were struggling with people quitting, low morale, the whole 9 yards.
Rough.
Yeah, so they went all in on some leaders eat last principles, open communication, more employee autonomy, focus on well-being, and the results. Amazing. Turnover plummeted, productivity went way up, and get this, their stock price even climbed.
No kidding.
Mhm.
It proves that putting your team first isn't just nice, it's a smart business move.
Absolutely. When employees feel valued and trusted, they're more engaged, motivated, productive. It's like recognizing that people are your biggest asset.
It really flips the script on that old school command and control style, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Hmm.
That old style, it relies on fear to get things done,
Yeah.
creates a toxic environment that just backfires.
It's like trying to squeeze water from a stone.
Exactly. Leaders eat last. It's about empowering your team, giving them the tools and resources they need to succeed, and then stepping back.
Trusting them to do their thing.
Right. It does take a lot of trust from the leader,
For sure.
but it pays off. When leaders loosen the reins and empower their teams, you create that space for innovation and creativity to flourish.
So how can folks who aren't, officially in leadership roles start using these ideas? What if you're not the CEO or a team manager?
Well, it starts with walking the walk. Show up positive, be supportive, be willing to tackle those tough tasks, and communicate openly and honestly.
Creating that ripple effect, even if you're not steering the ship.
Exactly. You don't need a fancy title to make a difference.
What about empathy? Sinek really emphasizes that. How does that fit into this model?
Oh, empathy is essential. It's that ability to understand and share the feelings of others, to really walk in their shoes. A leader without empathy will struggle to create that circle of safety because they can't truly connect with their team.
So it's more than just being nice. It's about really understanding the people you work with, right?
Yeah. Recognizing that everyone has their own unique experiences, their own perspectives, their own challenges.
Sounds like it takes a lot of listening, really listening, and open communication.
Definitely. And it's not always easy. It can be tough to put aside your own biases and assumptions, really see things from someone else's perspective.
But I'm guessing the rewards are worth it.
Totally. When you lead with empathy, you get a more collaborative, supportive, and productive environment.
So how can we, as listeners, start cultivating more empathy at work and just in life in general?
Start by paying attention to how you interact. Are you really listening when others speak, or just waiting for your turn? Are you quick to judge, or are you giving people the benefit of the doubt?
Great questions to ask yourself, like an empathy checkup.
Yeah. It's a constant practice.
Okay, we've covered a ton. Let's recap the key takeaways for everyone.
All right, so first and foremost, remember that circle of safety. Creating a work environment where people feel safe, valued, supported, that's the foundation.
And that means leaders putting their team's well-being first, even before their own ego or need for control.
Exactly. Lead with empathy, listen to your team, create that culture of trust and collaboration.
And keep your eyes on the long game. Make decisions that benefit everyone in the long run, even if you have to sacrifice some short-term wins.
Right. Build a sustainable, fulfilling environment where everyone can thrive.
And don't forget, you don't need to be a boss to start using these principles.
Every single one of us can choose to lead with empathy, build trust, and help create a more positive work environment.
So what about you? What really stood out to you from Leaders Eat Last? What connects with your own experiences?
For me, it's the circle of safety. I've seen it in action, both personally and professionally. When you feel safe, supported, you can be yourself, take risks, innovate, achieve amazing things.
Makes you think about those times when you felt most empowered and productive at work, right? I bet it was when you felt trusted and supported.
Totally. It's a basic human need, that connection, belonging, a sense of purpose.
So how do we take these ideas and actually put them into practice? What's one small step listeners can take this week?
Start with simple acts of kindness, appreciation. Acknowledge a colleague's hard work, offer help when someone's struggling, or just truly listen when someone needs to talk.
Simple, but powerful. It's about shifting from me to we, from competition to collaboration, from fear to trust. It's interesting. We've been unpacking all this leaders eat last stuff, how it's relevant for everyone, whether you're a CEO or just starting out. Circle of safety, thinking long term, empathy. But before we wrap up, something's been bugging me. We've focused on work, but I keep thinking these ideas, don't they apply to like life in general?
Totally. Sinek even touches on that. He says these leadership principles aren't just for the office. They're about basic human stuff that need to feel safe, to belong, to matter. We all experience that.
So if we took leaders eat last and applied it to, say, relationships, what would that even look like?
Think about parenting, for example. A parent who really gets this, they put their kids' well-being first, right?
Yeah.
Create a home where kids feel safe to be themselves, to screw up, to know they're loved no matter what.
It's like that circle of safety, but in a family. Exactly. And friendships, too. Imagine friends who really listen, support without judging, celebrate the good times, and are there for the tough ones. Putting your friends' needs first, being there even when it's hard.
That hits home. My best friendships, there's that deep trust, mutual support, no scorekeeping, just showing up for each other.
That's it. It's those genuine connections built on respect, wanting the best for each other.
And zooming out even further, could this apply to communities? Society as a whole, even.
Think about it. A community where people help each other, work together towards shared goals, where everyone feels they belong, no matter their background or beliefs.
That's a nice thought. Makes me think about how we can each create change, starting small, in our own circles.
That's the takeaway. Leaders eat last. It's not just about being the boss. It's about how we live, all of us.
So as we wrap this up, the challenge for everyone listening is, how can you apply this? Not just at work, but with family, friends, your community, the whole world.
How can you create that circle of safety for people you care about? Put their well-being first. Lead with empathy and inspire others to do the same.
Big questions, but worth thinking about. And remember, even small acts of kindness, empathy, generosity, they ripple outward, create positive change that goes way beyond us.
It's been a great deep dive. Hopefully everyone listening got something out of exploring Leaders Eat Last with us.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Keep those minds thinking, those hearts open. See you next time.